that they captured in the salvage rights of the corporation to administer the birth process of the ship at dock. So they was using that to usurp us by changing the meaning of the names in relation to the function of law on land versus the function of law of the seas. That was the trick the whole time to keep Mama out of power. I yield.
Perfectly that you just came on Friday, because it says open panel, and we're gonna get into some things.
Yeah, it's a line. But let me say this really quick. It's not our page. So how social media works, I just checked out our page. It's not our page. But anyone can copy our page. So how people maneuver that is they go get blue checks. They're like, we're the official ones. I do work and we can talk about that later. But that's a process to be like, let us really be like, we're the official ones and all these others are fake. Other than that, they just got to report it. Got to report it as fake.
Half them clone pages got a blue check.
Yeah, their blue checks are fake though. You got to know what the real ones look like.
It's just ridiculous.
I already don't like social media, so for me to figure out what a blue check look like would make my give a fuck meter have to move.
I only know because words.
My gas meter. So from here forward, y'all know what it is. When I say my gas meter, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I know exactly what you mean. Now, Dots, I think you went. Let me switch you because you said you and Dustin Air, y'all be on fire. So I'm gonna come down here with Nene. That's what I'm gonna keep myself down here to stay safe. Because Dustin Air and Dots, when I say on fire, them two sisters, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, that's all I'm gonna say. That don't mess with them. That's all I'm. And
you gonna put me right between the fire starters on the left and the right, huh?
I had to do it. I had to
do
it.
You home, Rod. We got you. The best thing of it.
Hey, look, I'm built for it, so no matter how it come, I can handle it.
Yeah, but
I was just acknowledging that I was standing in the flames.
Oh, they ain't no joke. I can tell you that.
You home. You in good hands, right? We don't consider you a foreigner. We don't consider you the enemy, so you good.
Oh, look, and Sister Freedom acting like she Rudy Poot or something.
Right. She don't. She's
I get out the way when them two get started. I try to stay out the way because they had to put me to some stuff. Me and Dulcie had a deep discussion a little earlier, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna let her go on with it now. Now, you said you had some questions that you wanted to start off with.
Well, those first. Okay, Mama.
You had already started asking me about the classification.
That's what it was.
Yeah, go ahead. Go into classification.
Oh, so okay. So the first question that I wanted to start out with was, well, you know how like when we talk about the misclassification, or you'll hear like the miseducation of the Negro, but the misclassification of the American Indian, who was once known as the Negro and X, Y, and Z. What does that mean to you? And can you talk about like the effects of that? What has been the effects of the misclassification?
The most powerful effect of being misclassified is all of the emerging chiefs forgot their culture and couldn't remember how to evict the imposters. So we had to live with it till one of us remembered enough of our old ways to piece the puzzle together. The reclassification was to make us totally believe we not from over here. So now we walking around automatically disoriented, wondering why I feel right being where I ain't from.
Right.
Then you realize that you really is from here. That's why you feel right, but the information they gave you was wrong. That's why you don't know why you feel right when you ain't from here, which you wasn't really from here.
That makes sense.
So I posted a video today. Sister went to Ghana, and she said when she got over there, they reminded her she was a foreigner.
Of course.
They reminded her she was a foreigner, and she said, we'll be all right if they didn't treat me like a foreigner. She said, but this don't feel like home. It's on my Instagram page if anybody want to go through my last couple of posts. But she actually saying that she went back to Ghana thinking she was going home and realized she's a foreigner. She ain't from there. I've been saying this for the longest, and people think I'm stir crazy when I say it because they believe they're Africans. But I be telling them, I be like, look, you go to Africa. If you believe you from Africa and if you feel like you at home, find your tribe. Right? Because we gonna tribe up over here according to what symbols or totem animals or cultural phenomenon we gonna find one of them to rally around as our culture. Whether we use the music, whether we use the art, the dance, we gonna rally around this in every part of the land, trying to remember who we is so we can wake from the slumber. It's over now. Showtime. All these sisters waking up, they waking up so fast that you can't put them back to sleep now. You can't kill 10 or 50 of them and think that you can stop this now. It's too far gone. See, before they would be able to kill us to make us not remember, they take the ones remembering and kill them. Right? But Big Mama said turnabout is fair play. If they did it to us, we authorized to do it to them. Then they start talking that peace talk. But it's the reclassification had a specific psychological, but the implications is sociological in scope. Because of the disorienting of the individual, when the individual get around other disoriented individuals, it makes that circuit more functional as a sociological expression of the group. So you got all of us walking around in a state of delusion, believing we from somewhere we ain't from, trying to fit into somewhere that don't belong here. Other people's culture being imposed up on our people. All this comes from reclassification.
Right.
Right? So they telling us who we is, but they won't never give us the rightful opportunity to discover it for ourselves. They don't want the children to go out and play in the field because the trees start talking to us again. They don't want that to happen. They don't want the children to remember they can talk to the animals. They don't want the children to remember that the rivers can talk to them, the streams, the creeks, the rain, the hurricanes, the wind, the birds in the trees chirping, singing a song. They don't want the children to know we can still communicate with nature because we weren't with nature. So they put them in a Skinner box and hear a Pavlovian response bell up there and tell them they at school. And school is from shul, and shul is from Sheol, and Sheol translated as hell into English. So you take them away from Dick Gregory. Baba Gregory said school is an abomination to the spirit. Right? I read somewhere where somebody said education is the raping of freedom. I'm like, what is they talking about? They talking about the systems.
That's right.
Then we got to go back. Well, who's educating us? If we don't know who educating us, we don't know what we've been taught to do. Trace right back to the Rothschilds. So they got their hand in your pocket economically with the central banks. They got their ithophallic in your brain with miseducation, right? Then they giving you misrepresentation of yourself in the arts and entertainment, right? Then they stealing your health slowly through poisonous agents by the use of medical facilities and food manufacturing facilities as chemical warfare. They create viruses in laboratories, but they tell us they not. Turning them loose on the people. But then when somebody get caught, they say, oh, that's just the Chinese that do that. We don't do that over here. But 50 years later, when the documents come out, We find out about MK Ultra. We find out about the Tuskegee experiment. They can't figure out how we keep becoming immune to everything they throw at us. So they throw more stuff at us to study our developing immune to whatever they threw at us. Then they found out we have healers in our community, so they start killing off Dr. Sabi. Anybody like him. He ain't the only one. We act like Dr. Sabi, the only one of the healers that was taken by the system. Maybe we should do a little more research. Remember the brother, last name Africa, he wrote the herbal book.
Layla Africa. Dr. Layla Africa.
Where he at?
Gone. He transcended.
Yeah.
How they tell us he died?
I probably can't remember. It was something he ate or something, right?
Google it. Google it. Watch. Just Google it. They take he ain't the only one. Right? They all over the country. How they say?
Wait a minute.
While she's looking at, while she's doing that real quick, I want to touch on that point you made, you know, about the sister you mentioned that was sharing her experience when she went to Ghana thinking she was going home, because they know I've said that so many times. We've talked about that a few times, and I was saying, you know, like that was a money grab. Let's be very clear, okay? And as much as you think that you could put on a dashiki, you put on a dashiki, and you
which ain't African, by the way. I want y'all to know that dashikis is not African.
Come on. Okay.
It's actually Southwestern United States culture, if you want to get down to where it's at. But we're gonna go ahead with what you said, sister. I ain't gonna interrupt you.
I have to slow walk that. But yeah, right. So they think you put it on the dashiki and you go, and you think that when you touch down, you're gonna feel this, oh my God, you know, drums are gonna start, you get off the plane and you being, you know, welcome, like that is not how that rock, okay? Because I know when I was in Tanzania, me and my sister, when I went to Africa or what have you, East Africa, the bottom line is they call you sister, but what they want is your US dollar. All right? That's what they want. And they're also very clear on the fact, they're also very clear on the fact that we ain't them and they ain't us. That's a Snapple fact. We have so many, I know two sisters that went to the Gambia and came, two sisters that went to the Gambia thinking they were repatriating over there, came back home. One of them actually got killed. Thought she, you know, went over there. Stella got her groove back, found the Gambian man. Like I said, we ain't that. He wanted your money. And unfortunately, you came home in a coffin. That's real. And I grew up around lots of Africans because I'm from Harlem. I don't live there anymore, but I was born and raised in Harlem. It's in the blood. You understand? And they have always seen themselves.
Okay, now I got to ask you a question, sister. You brought it up now. You from Harlem and you grew up around the Africans in the area. The Africans that I ran across from varying different countries with degrees tell me that we from over here. Any of them brothers and sisters from Africa up there where you grew up tell us that we was already here?
That's a Snapple fact. But they also look down on us, right? They see us, they see themselves as more educated, they see themselves as more hardworking, more better, right? And even when, you know, when I think of growing up in Harlem, and those of you, hey, Brother Locke, those of you from New York City, tell me if I'm lying, right? But I've shared this with y'all before, where from 125th, right? From from the west side of 125th, right? All the way down to the east side of 125th, it used to be nothing but African vendors. And they would segregate themselves by their nation and by their tribe, right? So like the Ghanaians stayed separate, the Senegalese had a block, you know, the Gambians had a block, for example. And they kept themselves very separate. You couldn't tell them that they were just African. That's not how that should rock. That's not what they thought. You understand? Right? But also realizing that they never saw us as them. Never.
See, our biggest, what you say, Sister Spring?
No, you know what? I have looked on several things. Now, it's not saying how he transcended to rebirth. It doesn't say how he passed on or why.
And that's not suspicious. We just supposed to accept that he just crossed over with no cause, no underlying sickness, no illness.
His wife said he lived on his own terms.
That don't mean he died on his own terms.
And that he told her to tell everyone that he passed on his own terms. I mean, who passes on their own terms? I don't know.
Well, you can actually, if your life's work has been complete, you have an option to exit the physical form.
Right.
But if you ain't done with your work, you can kick and scream. Look, I went into the astrals one night. I did a video about this when it happened. It was fresh. I tried to get out of here. I've seen the exit. And my mom and daddy was at the exit time. Where you think you going? Y'all ain't supposed to know about this exit. My mama say, you better check out your man. I told you I'd be with you all the time. That's what she used to always say to us. And I was like, oh. She said, you got work to do. You just getting started. I say, just getting started. I'm tired. She said, you better go play James Cleveland.
Long way to go. You got a long.
She told me, look, she told me you better go play James Cleveland and remember what I told you. And the next couple of weeks later, I was saying, I ain't no ways tired.
Wow.
But then I seen what the struggle was, what I was faced with, because I had got to a point where this didn't make sense because it was like treading water. But then when I seen the vision start coming in, I started, okay, oh, that's what that is. That's what that means. Okay, I just keep going until I run to the dead end.
Right. You have to, because you know what? Sometimes I want to give up, but I just can't. One thing I can say is that the spirit is moving with this information. It's everywhere, all over YouTube. People, I mean, wherever you go, wherever I go now, I'm asking people questions, and everyone is saying the same thing. And the only thing, did your grandmother tell you that you were African when you was little? They said no, every last one of them, even in Rite Aid today, Walgreens, excuse me. I asked 4 people standing there. One young man was dark. I mean, dark, beautiful complexion. He said, my grandmother always told us we was Cherokee. Nobody said no. In their faces, when I said it, like, they like, no. You know, they told us we was African. I'm not saying nothing about Africans. But
yeah, but they think because we say we're not from Africa, we got a problem with Africans.
Yeah, and that's not the case, and will never be the case.
No, they got did the same way we got did. Why would we have a problem with them? They not the enemy.
They not the enemy.
But the enemy look like them, but they ain't them. Just like they over here that look like us and they ain't us.
Right.
And that's why they keep trying to say we the same people. So that we can be confused about who they is when they telling us we from somewhere else, and then they saying that this is their land in their ancient country. But it ain't no ancient map with no names on there.
I don't even think Nisha, I sent you a video, just a little short thing. Did you get it?
Let me check. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Can you share it?
Let me see if I can send it to my email.
Walaikum wa assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That sounded pretty fluent Arabic you were speaking there.
I'm Muslim. I ain't never denied it. Now I ain't practicing right now, but 26.
See, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about our culture. We're allowed to be whatever we want to be as long as we make it our own. We can't be Arabs.
I'm not trying to be Arab though.
Exactly. But as
for the sake of Allah, it's definitely not for the sake of anybody's Arabs. I do not respect how they have treated our people. I do not respect how they treat African people. I do not respect it.
It's
So
not respectable. That's why.
I've heard some
It
horrible
ain't like
stories.
they was look. It ain't like they was over there giving them
You know,
some of that oil money.
Islam is one thing. A person is another. Now,
It,
I
a
draw the line.
prime example of what I'm talking about is Elijah Muhammad taught Islam. He didn't teach Arab Islam.
That I will send a prophet to every nation, and I think that Elijah Muhammad was sent to us, okay, because we needed to have knowledge of self. We needed to be proud of ourselves because we have been through so much. We have been through so much. We needed somebody to tell